Hi, how y'all doing? I'm going to talk to you about the 10 mistakes that poor people and people in poverty make. Now, I talked about this in the earlier video, if you had watched. But this is the bottom line. These are definitely the top 10 mistakes that poor people make. And I'm sure there are many. And I'm sure you can think of even more mistakes that poor people make. You know, I study poverty. I study poverty from overseas, and I study poverty where I'm living. I study poverty in America. Now, Jesus talked about poverty. God talked about poverty from Genesis to Revelation. Now, why did he talk about poverty? It's true, it is a curse of the law. But why? And God would never meant for us to be poor. Why in the world would God, who owns the cattle on 1,000 hills, want his creation to be poor? That doesn't make any sense. That would be a cruel God. God said he owns the cattle on 1,000 hills. All the silver and gold on the earth is his. And he's a giver. So why would he want his creation to be poor? That's not even who he is. But nevertheless, there is poverty on the earth. Now, God talked about poverty. Why? From Genesis to Revelation. Why? Because poverty is universal. In other words, people are poor for all the same reasons. Whether they live in the Philippines, whether they live in New York, whether they live in Tennessee, California, the Arab nations, Europe. People are poor for all the same reasons. Poverty is universal. Poor people make all the same mistakes. That's why they're poor. The Bible does not speak of Palestinian poor, Italian poor, Canaanite poverty. That's not what the Bible talks about. There's no such thing as New York poverty, Mississippi poverty, Louisiana poverty, California poverty. If you're poor, you're poor. Poor people make all the same mistakes. Poverty is universal. You can be poor in California, poor in Tennessee, or poor in New York. The only difference is that Tennessee is cheaper. So you can be poor in Tennessee, but it's just cheaper to be poor. Okay? Now, for example, let's just say you have a simple thing like a rip or a tear in your blouse or shirt. You want to get it sewn. If you're in the United States, you can fix it in 15 minutes. You just get somebody with a sewing machine and you can fix it. If you're in Africa, an African man will probably go 10 miles outside of his village to get it fixed. He won't get a woman in the village to fix it. He'll just go 10 miles outside of a village. If you're an Arab, you probably won't get done at all. Okay, if you're in the Philippines, it's 100 times as hard to get a tear or rip fixed. Okay, the truth is they'll probably just continue to wear it. Okay. So it won't get fixed at all in the Philippines, okay? Now, the first thing is poor people need wisdom. You know, Proverbs says to get wisdom, above all get understanding. He says better to have wisdom than to be rich. Now, you know what? Nowadays, since they're exposing all the wealth of popular people, you see a lot of rich people who are rich and dumb. But see, we don't have to be rich and dumb. Okay, so poor people need wisdom. We need know-how. We need to know how to sew. We need to sew for ourselves, sew for our children. Sew as a business. We need to know how. We need know-how on how to repair a house, and for that matter, how to build a house. We need wisdom on how to clean a house, how to keep the yard nice, so that you don't have to pay a contractor $400 to cut your grass, or you don't have to pay somebody $400 to clean your house if you know how to clean it. Number 2, hygiene. Poor people have issues with hygiene. I've seen some horror stories. I smell some horror stories, y'all. Now, in the Philippines, there's trash everywhere. In the United States, we have grass everywhere. In the Philippines, they have trash everywhere. Trash is it's just everywhere. Just like we think of grass, that's what it is in the Philippines, just trash everywhere. If they have to poop, they go right out there and just add it to the trash. They put trash right underneath their house. trash beside their houses. They don't know anything but trash. It's like we don't know anything but grass. All we're used to is grass and dirt. All they used to is trash. The Philippines don't know anything about trash. All they know is trash. When they go fishing, the lake has trash in it. How in the world is any fish going to live in that lake? I don't know. Okay? And really, trash takes up a lot of room. You know what? That's why, even in my house, I'm constantly picking up trash. Little bits of paper. I'm constantly picking up because it takes up room. I try to keep my room looking decent. That's why I have a lot of things on tablets and I have on my notes, because that saves me the trouble of having little pieces of paper that's going to generate trash. Okay? Now, in Africa, they don't bother to even clean their children. Africans will use the excuse, well, we don't have any water. Okay? But they won't even take a towel, put some soap on it, and clean their children. So what you see is these starving children with snot all on the nose. Okay? America has an issue with dirty children too. I mean, I see it. I see it. It's everywhere. I remember this lady who said she can always tell a kid from the projects because they smell like the projects, and the projects has free water. So I don't know why the project kids are dirty, but she said that. Okay, so when you poor people have an issue with hygiene, with being dirty, I've seen it all my life. But then, you know what? I see a lot of young mothers who make sure their girls' hair is combed, make sure their clothes are clean. I see these young mothers who do a ton of laundry to make sure their house and their children are clean. In India, there's trash every square inch of space when they could be using that space for mango trees or whatever. Indians don't wash their hands, before they cook. Because I watch some of the cooking shows. And their hands are dirty when they make bread. Their hands are dirty and filthy when they, cook potatoes or whatever. They got dirty nails. Because I look at all that stuff. When you look at a cooking show, you look at the whole picture. You're looking at their hands, see if their hands are dirty. You're looking at the cooking show, did they wash their hands? Is their environment dirty? Is their environment clean? When I look at a cooking show, I look at the whole picture. I look at their kitchen. Is it neat and clean? All of that. Okay, number 3. When you're poor, you need to have a simple life. Why are you going to a furniture store and buying $3,000 worth of furniture when you only make $8.25 an hour? That's ridiculous. You should be going to the thrift shop and buying furniture for $60. Okay? Why are you even looking at a $330,000 home that you cannot afford? Okay, you know that. So why are you looking at it? Okay, if you are homeless or you on the street, but somehow you have hustled up $1,200, you need to look for a $1,200 house. Excuse me, and they are out there. You go to Missouri, you go to Kansas City, they are out there. You go to St. Louis, they are out there. Toledo, Ohio, you can find a $1,200 house. Less than that, really. You go to the outskirts of Chicago, the outskirts of Detroit, you can find a $1,200 house. Probably much less than that. Probably more like $500, maybe even $1. Okay? So if that's all you have, why are you looking at a $330,000 house that you cannot afford? Number 4, poor people need to understand business. You need to have the title deed to everything you have. The tangible assets like a car and a house. You need to have a title deed to those. You need to have a title deed to all of the land that you buy. Okay? You need to have a title deed to that. All of the land that you buy. All the cars. All the house. You need to have your receipt. If you're stupid enough to buy some furniture on credit, you need to have your receipt that says paid in full. Okay? You need to have, I'm talking about business, right? You need to have a trust fund for yourself and each of your children. You need to add $5 a month or at least to that trust fund. You need to have a rock solid will. Now, a will is basically telling people who you want the blender to go to. If you have a blender or a crock pot, you want the blender or crock pot to go to so and so. But these assets like houses, land, and cars and bank accounts, you need to have a trust fund for that. Okay. Number 5, poor people need to always buy land. Okay, because from Genesis to Revelation, land is wealth. The rich man and Lazarus, what was Lazarus' issue? For some reason, he didn't have land, which was interesting, surprisingly, for a Jewish man. You know the parable of the rich man and Lazarus. Okay, why was he homeless? I mean, he was homeless for some reason. Why? Because he didn't have any land. Because you know what? God always told the Israelites to go possess the land. Okay, but for some reason, Lazarus did not have land. He found himself homeless, and he was trying to eat the crumbs that fell from the rich man's table. And for some reason, he didn't have land. And, you know, it could have been anything. It could have been his family disowned him, and he didn't have any land. It could have been somebody stole his land from him. I don't know. But from Genesis to Revelation, land is wealth. I mean, even people who are rich and know how to really make money, they always say that they buy land, they buy shopping centers, they buy buildings, etc. Real estate is wealth. Okay. Number 6, you should live cheap, because that is really the only economy that really works. I haven't seen anything in Scripture where we're supposed to live high on the hog. You know, God did give King David and Solomon riches, and Abraham and Moses riches, but you know that's his issue. Okay, you know, if he wants to be nice and do that, he can. But I don't see anything in Scripture where we also, just because we're Christian, we're supposed to live high on the hog. But living cheap is the only economy that really works. I have bought some nice stuff using coupons that I only paid pennies for. Sometimes I got it free. You need a customer value card from every store that you go to. Okay, buy in bulk. Maybe you can become a member of, you know, these bulk food stores, Sam's Clubs, BJ's, or whatever. No debt. Poor people should not have debt. You know, in the Philippines, they borrow money for food. And that's ridiculous. If they're going to eat like rice or whatever they're going to eat for the day, they go borrow the money for that food and say, okay, I will work in recycling and pay that back tomorrow. So they're constantly in debt. No debt. You know, poor people should not have debt. No debt for furniture, no debt for nothing. Now, you do need a credit or debit card to travel. You do need that. You do need that. But, you know, if you're stupid enough to put your travel expenses on a credit card, if you're that stupid, then what you need to do is pay it as soon as you get back. Okay? Poor people need to stop spending. I go through certain periods of my life where I stop spending. I don't buy anything. And right now, I'm in a non-spending mode. I have stopped spending for about a month. I'm not buying nothing. And you know how freeing, that is psychologically freeing for me to say, I'm not going to spend anything else. I'm not going to buy anything else. It is psychologically freeing knowing that every morning I don't have to go out and buy another blender or I don't have to go out and buy the latest crock pot. Okay? I don't have to do that if I don't want to. It's psychologically freeing when I told myself I'm going to stop spending. I'm not going to buy nothing. Now, see, I don't even need to buy soap, shampoo. Why? Because I got a storehouse full of shampoo and soap that I have bought with coupons. I got a storehouse of detergent, that I bought with coupons. So I don't even need to buy detergent for a while. But I'm talking about just buying stuff, you know, general stuff, coupon, crock pots and things that we don't need. I have stopped spending, and it's so psychologically freeing, y'all. I'm really telling you, it's psychologically freeing for me to say I'm not going to buy anything else for a while. Now, number 9, you need to prioritize your spending. If you have $80, are you going to buy nails, or are you going to put $20 in your savings account, $20 in your spouse's savings account, and the rest in your children's savings account? Or are you going to buy those $80 nails? It costs $40 just to even sit in the chair. I know what stuff costs. Nobody's going to look at those nails either. Men certainly aren't. But anyway, you need to prioritize your spending. Are you going to spend $80 on your hair and nails? Or are you going to put that in your savings account, your children's savings account, and vitamins? Are you going to buy vitamins for your children? Your children's health is more important than your hair and nails. That's why your children ain't got nothing. That's why your daughter's frustrated. She's 17 years old. She ain't got nothing. She ain't got nothing in the bank. So what does she do? She get it from the street. Your son's the same way. He doesn't have $200 in the bank. He gets it from the street. He gets his $200 from the street. I tell you something. I'm amazed at the stupidity of these mothers. They know that they let their sons sell drugs right out of their own house. It's plain stupid. Okay. Number 10, do not spend the trust fund. When your daughter has, or son or daughter has a trust fund at 17, tell them not to spend it until they're 21. When they're 21, tell them not to spend it until they're 30. When they're 30, tell them not to spend it until they're 50. Because you're going to be 50 before you know it. Tell them not to spend it. And then hopefully they will start a trust fund for their children. It'll go on and on and on and on. Okay? Number 10, do not spend the trust fund. Like I said, that is number 10, do not spend the trust fund. Do not spend. Okay? Because you're going to need your trust fund when you get over 55. And you know what? It will be good that you don't know what you're going to need it for. Medical expenses. Because you know what? As hard as you work at being healthy, you're going to have these expenses. Your body's going to deteriorate, the older you get. That's why you have to eat less and less as you get older. Now, okay, so let me recap that. Those are the 10 things, the 10 mistakes that poor people make. Number 1, we need to get wisdom. Proverbs says, get wisdom, above all, get understanding. We need to know how to sew, how to repair houses, how to build a house, how to keep it clean, how to do yard work, etc. Number 2, hygiene. Take care of your own hygiene, your own children's hygiene. And like I remember when I was in college, my mother always taught us about hygiene. Okay, so when I was in college, I remember they had no problems with me in college. Okay, because I always would spend my last $5. I used to spend my last $5 on soap, shampoo, and personal products. So I had no issue with hygiene in college. I took a shower every morning. I washed my hair at least every other day. I washed my hair often when I was in college. There was no issue with me. But I met some poor kids in college. I could tell because people wear poverty on their sleeve. I can always tell a poor person because people wear poverty on their sleeve. And when I was in college, I met this person and he wore poverty on his sleeve. I knew he was poor day one, dirt poor. I knew that day one. And he had hygiene issues. And the only time he looked half decent was when he wore that ROTC uniform. That's the only time. I mean, he had his regular clothing was horrible, just rags. And I didn't understand him because he said he got $100 from the ROTC program, $100 a month. And why didn't he take that $100 and go to JCPenney's and buy some clothes? I mean, I even bought some clothes for my work-study job. When I was in college, I always had a work-study job. Even I bought clothes for my work-study job. I bought what I needed to buy, clothes, shoes, whatever, for my work-study job. So, I never understood, but he had hygiene issues. And, I met a lot of people who have hygiene issues. Okay, but anyway, that's the second one. Poor people need to pay attention to their hygiene. You don't need to advertise to the world that you're too poor to bathe. You see that in the third world. They won't wash the children's faces. They won't wash their faces. They living in trash, like the Philippines. They're living in trash. They love trash. Philippines have trash just like we have grass. Okay. Africans won't clean their children's faces. Don't want to take a towel. Just wipe the children off. They don't do that. Children got snot all in their faces. Crazy stuff, y'all. But poor people do have issues with hygiene. But rich people probably do have I've seen middle class people with hygiene issues. I've seen rich people with hygiene issues, y'all. So sometimes it's not the poor people's problem. It's just that when people are poor and they have hygiene issues, it just stands out. Okay. Number 3, poor people need to live a simple life. Because if you poor, what does that mean? You ain't got no rich money. If you poor, you got simple money. You don't have $40,000 in the bank. If you poor and all you got is $20 in the bank, that's your poor money. Okay. Number 4, poor people need to understand business. Okay. Read all the books on finance. You need to have a title deed to your car, title deed to your home. If you buy furniture, you need to have a receipt, paid in full. Trust fund for yourself, trust fund for your children. Number 5, always buy land. Land as well. Always buy land as an investment, paid in full. You need to have a title deed to that. I buy a lot of land as an investment. A lot of it, y'all. I'm not limited to any one state either. You need to live cheap. That's the only economy that matters. Use coupons. Get a value card from all the stores. No debt. Poor people, you don't need to borrow money for food. You can go to the food bank and get some food. Go to these cheap stores and get some food. I got some Adwala, that fruit juice smoothie. I got some Adwala for 50 cents at this discount store. Okay? You need to stop spending. Okay? Stop buying all this stuff. It's very, personally, it's very freeing in your mind to declare, I'm not going to spend anything else. I'm going to stop spending. Prioritize. If you're stupid enough to spend, prioritize your spending. Should you get vitamins, or should you put money in your children's trust fund, or should you spend $80 or $120 on your hair and nails, which no man's looking at, to tell the truth? Number 10, do not spend your trust fund. Okay? And you know what? Do not spend your trust fund. Tell your children don't spend it. And you know what? You need an emergency fund too. You need an emergency fund for medical issues. You need an emergency fund for car repair. So those are the 10 things. The 10 things that poor people, 10 mistakes that poor people make. But I'm sure there are more, and I'm sure you can think of more. Have a nice day.